if you're going to finish your basement, you're probably going to be framing it in wood studs. And you're going to want to know the basics of using a circular saw at that point. I'm going to go over that in this video. Why are you going to use a circular saw and not a chop saw? You're wondering. Sure, a chop saw will give you straight cuts. However, it's going to be slower and it's going to take up a lot of room. I prefer to set up the lumber in one place, mark out a bunch of studs, pull out the circ, rip through a bunch, and then that way you're limiting your space and you're moving faster. Whereas if you have a chop saw, you're picking it up, carrying one over to the saw, marking it, cutting it, walking over, putting it in, bringing over another piece. It's a lot more time consuming. And a circular saw is probably one of your most basic tools. I mean, not a lot of them are overly complex. You want to cut in a straight line? Circular saw is the way to go. It's a one hand tool, and it's really easy to make work once you get some of the fundamentals down. Now, The Honest Carpenter, who's another YouTuber, I don't know why I'm calling myself a YouTuber, but anyhow, he's got some great videos on this too that I will link in the description. So for you to get going on framing, you need a circular saw. Now I have a 10-year-old DeWalt circular saw that I've kind of nicked the cord on a few times. So the cord's really short now because I've had to Frankenstein it a little bit. So your circ's number one. You're going to need a speed square, a tape measure, a pencil, and usually I'm wearing a hat, so that gives me somewhere to put my pencil. Now, once you get all that figured out, there's two priority things that I tell everyone that I've ever taught to learn when they're using a circular saw. I'm going to say there's about probably 10 or 12 people that I've taught to do this. Number one, your fingers don't grow back. Please respect the tool. Don't get casual. Don't think you know more. Use it properly. Your fingers don't grow back. Number two is your hands are only trying to do what your eyes tell it. So when you mark out the wood, you want to mark out the side you're cutting on, and you want to get in there and you want to look where you're cutting. Don't look at the blade. You're looking at the spot you're cutting and you're going through it. So we're going to set up our wood. I've got some Mastercraft Canadian Tire sawhorses that I buy. They go on sale. I just bought a new pair. They were $20 a piece, right? They fold up. They're sweet. So I'll set up all the wood on there and I'll get ready to cut. I'll mark out. I'll put an X on the side that is waste. So the side where my blade is going to go. I have the line and then I have my blade. And if this is the side I'm cutting, I want the inside of my blade on that line going through. I want to start with my blade up and away from the piece of wood. If you start with the blade next to the wood, it's going to bite and kick and you're going to get this awful feeling and you're going to feel dumb. Trust me, we all do it in the beginning. However, if you start with it a little bit back, fire it up, wait for it to get fully going, and then you're going to want to look down. I'm tall and I'm right-handed, so I'm going to look down the right side into the blade. So now I can watch as it goes through and see that I'm doing it. As I get going, I want to keep my eyes on it and just let the blade do the work. If you try to force it, it's going to bind. So your circular saws are designed to go straight line. And your hands, when you push, are designed to come together, right? Think about it. You're going to push something, automatically it's going to come together. Your hands are designed to guide the saw and let it do the work. You want to have one hand on the wood away from it very carefully and the other hand on the saw. You can, if you really need some help, put your thumb on the shoe of the saw, right? So it'll help you give a little bit of guidance to it. You want to square your hips, make sure you're squared up. And if you do have to push, you want to push with your big muscles. You're going to push with your back, your hips, your shoulder, your tricep, and you want to go through, not with your wrist. Your wrist is the part that you use for direction. So as you go through the wood and you're getting to the end, here's the major mistake that a lot of people make is they want to be precise, so they slow down as they get to the end. If anything, you want to follow through the wood, get all the way through, and maybe even speed up a bit, like give it a little push. Think about it like you're shooting a basketball, right? You're squared, you're following through, you don't slow down at the end, right? Get it going and get it through. So those are some really, really basic things about using a circular saw that not a lot of people know. A circular saw is going to run you, I don't know, 100, 150 bucks. Tools go on sale, Father's Day and Christmas. They're great times to get it. Once you have it, you're going to use it for a bunch of things if you're going to DIY. Building decks, framing walls. If you're going to do your subfloor, you can use your Circ 2. You don't need to go using a table saw. Some people do. To me, it kind of defeats the purpose. This is definitely much faster. So let's recap. You're going to use a circular saw to frame your walls, not a chop saw. Your fingers don't grow back, and your hands are only trying to do what your eyes tell it. In the beginning, it's going to go slow. You're going to take a little while to get used to it, but as long as you stick to the main things of keeping your hands away and letting the tool do the work, it's all going to work out fine. You're going to find it goes much faster, and you're going to be able to get way more done as opposed to a chop saw that you're going to have to move around and tinker with. It's just a logistical nightmare. Circular saw is the way to go. The Honest Carpenter has some great videos up on it. I do not know him. We are not even from the same country. I watch his videos a little bit. He's got some good ones on how to use an impact driver, fundamentals of tools. He's very technical. I won't say very technical. He's more technical than me. I'm going to talk about it in theory. We're going to go over some videos. I'm going to show some snaps. He gets into the nitty gritty and the dirty of a lot of things. He's got a big library. I highly recommend that if you're going to do some carpentry at home, and I'm not talking about woodworking, have a look at his channel. It definitely is something great. There's also some other channels you might want to look at. Home Renovision by Jeff Thorman. Now, he's got some epic videos. They're like 2 hours, 3 hours on how to finish your basement and all of that. I don't know how deep you're going to go. He is Canadian. No, I do not know him. We do not all know each other. He's got some good ones. Remarkable Woodworks is somebody that I know from Instagram. He's also got a YouTube channel, but his is a little more featured, right? He does feature walls. He does some really cool stuff. He's a renovation guy, not basements per se. Neither are the other guys. But again, if you're trying to inform yourself and educate yourself on how to finish your own projects, I recommend having those channels a look. If there are channels you like that you think are helpful, maybe put them in the comments, because I don't watch a ton of this, and I know there's a lot of people who are sending me questions. I'm going to try to get into doing a mailbag again, hopefully, because there's some really good questions out there, and that's what I got for now. So I'm going to say thanks for watching and good luck on your project.